There is Élise Brousseau and Andrew Bergeron-Vandal, both of them from Cégep de Shawinigan, who will share with us a series of activities that they have done with success, from theory to practice. Students in specialized education do their first internship. Elise and Andrew have been teaching for less than 5 years. They've been in their jobs for less than 5 years, but they've built a new program in specialized education. They've had great varied experience in intervention and accompaniment. They are working to create an environment for learning that is inclusive, stimulating, and looks for people's well-being. Collaboration and innovation are what they use to favorize well-being and success for their students. So I wish you a wonderful webinar, ladies and gentlemen. I will now hand it over to Elise and Andrew. Thank you, Nicole, for this presentation. I'm just going to share my screen. So, yes, Cégep de Shawinigan is where we're from. I'm a coordinator at the specialized education faculty, and as Nicole has mentioned, it's been less than 5 years that we've been teaching, so I will allow my colleague to introduce herself. And hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Élise Brousseau. I am also a teacher in specialized education techniques at Cégep de Shawinigan. I'm also wearing the double hat of program head. It's important it was important when we developed this. I was also a coordinator. My objective today is to share our expertise in this matter. So the plan of the presentation, we will begin with some context of our program that spawned this idea. The issues and problems that were brought forward helped us to bring this strategy for pedagogy. So we're going to draw a portrait of the first week. We will talk about the different orientations throughout the introductory week, the first week of the program. Then we will share the data we collected from our students and teaching staff, and we'll show you some results and then a conclusion. And then this is a presentation we have offered for the AQPC lately. So the objective today is to reproduce this activity with you. Can you, Monsieur Bergeron, increase your volume a little bit, please? Yes, we will do that. Is it better now? I will ask Karine, who was talking about that, who asked me about that. So you should be okay now. Yes, perfect. Okay. I just see the slides. So thank you, Nicole, for having advised me of that. So the objectives are to present the practices, the winning practices that allowed us to favorize well-being and work for well-being in an internship situation, and to think about how these practices could be introduced in your program. To give you a bit of context, and specialized education, or the first year, the first semesters are classes where we teach mainly the foundations, the basics of the profession. So what is the clinical process? How do I communicate? How do I act in a professional setting? We talk about all those things during the first year. We give the most tools possible to these students that will help them during their second year. At the third semester, where they have their first internship, which is an immersive experience of 405 hours, 3 hours a week. And it's a big internship. It's a big step. And then after that, after the internship, the students will come back to the classroom where they have more specific classrooms, classes in the classroom, more specific to certain clienteles in semester 4 and 5. And then they have a last internship, which is more of an integration experience, 5 days a week at the end of their program. So that's what it looks like. And the first year, there's a lot of information. We give them a lot of foundational knowledge, and then after the first year, there's a transition towards year 2, where they're with the summer between the 2 years, and we wanted to bring back or refresh certain concepts before sending them to their first internship. Throughout the presentation, you will see there's a white rectangle. These are the comments of the students that they contributed after their first internship. You'll see they change from slide to slide. So for the issues we faced, it is a program that favorizes well-being, that we want to train educators in specialized education, and to instill practices that are inclusive, that we try to consider issues of all students, because everybody is different. So we have that preoccupation. And then we observed for the stress during the first semesters, we had a clientele that was very stressed, that presented a lot of anxiety, facing unknowns and evaluations, and a certain lack of confidence from many students who also were worried and trying to understand everything and all the expectations on them. So there was that reality as well. And we are a new program in the regular branch of education, but in adult education, the program was also offered. And because it's a faster stream and they are moving faster than the regular program, we were able to observe and make comparisons with the different cohorts that have already been through the first internship, so in both kind of classrooms. So we wanted to look at how it was happening with adult education, and then make some adjustments following that. We also had the specific situation, a special situation with students who want to do their internship in a school situation from the beginning, and the schools are not started yet. So when Cégep starts for the internship. So for the students, we can't send them directly week 1 into internship. So as I was saying earlier, it's 405 hours of an internship, 3 days a week. So that all these issues, they brought us to try something, make decisions, and considering that we're also a new program that is being implemented. So that's why we will present our week 1. For well-being and health, we looked at the Sherpa Plus platform, which was a goldmine of information. And Gagnon and Jacques were saying that the well-being and health in terms of internship is all about having fun and being accomplished and feeling self-actualized, and it's about the capacity for adapting, their capacity to adjust to the new reality they're in, and the quality of the relationships they will build and maintain, and their feeling of efficacy, and their living habits as well, and their mental health. So we are considering all those points to implement our program in week 1. And Sylvia Hovington shares strategies in his book that favorizes self-confidence and autonomy. Earlier, you were mentioning that self-confidence can be an issue, confidence in the students, especially their first year. So, in the strategies we seek to instill, we say to consider interns like adults, to share responsibility and co-build and co-learn together. So, to respect the diversity, consider their strengths, respect them, iterate the expectations of the internship, encourage initiative, and encourage them to build relationships. This is something that encouraged us to put in place a week one that would favorize well-being and health and prepare them for their internship. So, setting our coordinates on success is our mission, is to prepare the interns, reduce their stress. We feel that the stress was present, especially in the new program, is to increase the sense of control and confidence in the students in the first week, but also to help build their confidence in their efficaciousness, their efficiency. So I will let my colleague take over. Thank you. You set the table well for this first week. My objective for the next minutes is to talk about this first week, give you more details, and to present what we wanted to develop for this first experience. My colleague has mentioned it and explained it quite well. It's a new program that is being implemented, so everything had to be built. For those who have already had the privilege of building a program, and context last year, I was present, so it's a two-headed beast. We tried to talk about winning strategies for teachers and students to let we had some good discussions, and this is the schedule we had for the first week. So what you can see on the screen is week one that began after the summer holiday. So what we planned for the first week, the Tuesday, the Wednesday, the Thursday, and the Friday, we had some time that we planned for meetings, and we could see a color code for the days of the 20th, 21, and 22. We see the orange color there. These are group meetings where the group would meet together with the different master and supervisors for the internships. And the Tuesday 27th, we have these little working groups. We wanted to, at certain times, subdivide our group to smaller groups to be able to accompany each smaller group with each supervisor, internship supervisor or internship leader. So we have these activities that we have for the first week. So the objective is to inspire you on different possibilities. So I will go in order. The first day was for a presentation of the internship leaders, supervisors. It's the 20th of August. We quickly present different documents that will be essential. Then the Wednesday, you can see that there are other documents that are given, a workbook, a signature of different forms. The Thursday is a big day where we jump into things and we look at what we've seen the first year and refresh our knowledge. And the Friday, before going for the weekend, we take some time to meet with different interns to hear about their experience, and then we do some activities in smaller groups. I will present in the next slide the inventory of the tools we have used. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go one by one, the schedule, and looking at the schedule and vulgarizing and making the activities easily understood. First one is the activity, the presentation summary. It was good for everybody to meet again. We took some time with the students to exchange, to discuss. There was also the teaching staff with which we met new faces. Me and Andrew were well known by everybody, but not the other teachers. So it was a great time to get to know each other, have some ice-breaking activities. It was also a time where the students would meet. It was a great time to proceed with filling out the paperwork, signing the forms, confidentiality, forms and everything, and having everybody together. There is nothing lost. Everybody was there to help, and it was a winning experience for us to do it that way. Then, on point number two, we took some time with the students to identify their experiences and their expectations. So we always think that we have expectations towards them, but we ask them this time, what are their expectations? How do you think the internship is going to go? What will happen, and how can it be best for you? So it was a great time for the students to be able to talk about what they would like and what they think is coming in the internship. And for us, it allowed us to come in and maybe temper expectations. Some were dreaming big, and the corner office and everything, and so just to temper expectations of certain people, on the contrary, thought that it was an observation internship and they wouldn't do very much. So that allowed us to explain and temper expectations to help them see the real situation as best as possible and avoid dissatisfaction on the student side, and sometimes our expectations would fall short. So point number three was a point that was very much appreciated by the students. It's a first internship experience for many, so that was to prepare some time to discuss with the students of all the different notions, information that is needed before coming into the internship. And there's some questions like, is there a parking space? Do I need to bring my lunch? Is there a cafeteria? Do I need to dress a certain way? What tools do I need to have? So it's just to take some time to get to know their environment. Some students didn't have any information, didn't know what they were going to do. Really took the phone and checked their emails to get all the information before the first day. And so to have this little meeting, it really allowed us to help many students. We were able to accompany them better. So it was a great time for them to, a great opportunity for them to be ready. Yes, I had a question to ask you. The internship environments, are they very different? Do they vary a lot? Can the type of internship and where it is can have an impact on expectations, on the development, on, yes, that's an excellent question. The beauty of specialized education is the variety of clientele and different internship opportunities. We have different places, service centers with CIUS, MCQ, where there are different possibilities for internships. We are also in many community centers and community spaces, so it's pretty varied in terms of possibilities. It's also the coordination of the internship that sends as much information possible to the students, the coordinators, and before the first week they are well informed, and it started before the summer break, but in some cases it was a bit longer, so it was a very good thing to take that time. I will now carry on. Thank you. I will carry on with point number 4, where we were in a period of research. So we asked the students, first of all, have you ever been to social networks or your internship website? What do you know about the programs, the services? Some had done their homework, others no. So it was a time where the students can go and do some recon, got to know where they're going before they get there. And because as the teacher said, is to start that, to take the time to go be informed. It's a sign of motivation and interest that will be well perceived by the internship leaders. So we took some time to look at the different platforms of different organizations, and we shared all of that between the students. On point number 5, we have a half day that was reserved to go back and refresh the previous semester. So we asked the students to bring their material, their class notes, their computer, their books for semester 1 and 2. So with their classroom materials, we asked them to tell us what they think is essential as theoretical content, as things that they must know to place you in a position of success for your internship. So it was a great time to share and discuss, and the students had to look at this notion, I don't, or that notion, I don't remember this or I don't remember that. So it was an overview of everything, and we've seen so far the clinical process, for example. We use the different professional operations, clinical operations, to look at the foundations of communication, of looking at different components of how to act professionally. We looked at the fact that some months of vacation are a good thing, but when sometimes we forget. So to be able to review and to look at everything again and to reactivate their knowledge was wonderful. We had different activities and different concepts that we had to research and experiment with, and an objective that they'll be able to teach to the general public and understand basic concepts. So a research was proposed. We put the students into action to look at the different platforms of the Cégep and intervention. The nice thing is there's a lot of material documentation online on the platforms of the Cégep. So to remind the students to have a bit of autonomy and to learn about the different issues, the clientele, to accompany people in preparing interventions, to strategies, and to look at platforms that are scientifically valid. We took some time to review all of that with the students. It was a great time to talk about intellectual integrity, intellectual property. The students have work to hand in and evaluations to do, so that reminder was welcomed as well. And point number 7, it was what the students really loved. We asked the interns from the adult education, considering they had already done some internships before, so we asked the adult students to come and share, and we had 5 people who came from different organizations as well to accompany them to come and talk about how the internship works, what are the challenges, what their experience was, because there are some challenges sometimes, but to really talk about the added value of being perseverant, of being motivated, and to share their tricks and knowledge and experience to get through their internship. It was a great discussion that was much appreciated by all. And point number 8 is us, the teachers and supervisors, that put ourselves in a vulnerable situation in sharing our internship experiences at the Department of Faculty of Special Education. We are all professionals in psychoeducation, so we all have been through it in all authenticity and humanity to practice our craft and publish our victories in our podcast. And it was a wonderful way that the students sometimes can see us differently, to see that us too, we've been through that. We've been through what they've been through. So it was a great way to share and discuss. So on point 9, we have made the choice to announce at the end of the week to divide up the groups. So from Monday to Thursday, the students don't know who their internship supervisor is and who will be in their group for the rest of the semester. So we announced that on the Friday, and they meet with their internship supervisor, internship leader, and it's a great time to discuss in groups what is coming up in the coming weeks. We also give them a time cap. We get them to produce a time capsule. I'm gonna write something for the future me in 15 weeks. What are the challenges that I see? What is coming? What do I expect from this experience? And then 15 weeks later, they can open that and see their evolution, how things have changed. And it's a great time to set personal objectives and talk about that with your staff supervisor, with your supervisor for your internship. And so that's why we made this choice and to announce it only on the Friday. Concerning the pedagogical orientations, what I present looks really nice. It is quite positive, but we've made some adjustments as well, following a few things we had to improve. So we've made some decisions, as you can see here on the slides and looking at the previous slides on our pedagogical orientation. So with Andrew, we sat down together and were asking and looking at our choices pedagogically, why we choose certain activities. And what came out of it is the first thing was to create a secure place, a secure, safe space for us as professionals. When we have clear expectations and clear instructions and we have the time to be prepared, it really helps with stress and anxiety. So offering this safe space, there are many activities we've used that allow us to reach that sweet spot. Another target is to favorize appropriation of roles and responsibilities, to really bring the students to think about and position themselves and to project themselves into the future and how they're going to do things and they're going to plan activities on well-being and their expectations. So what is a TS and how do I see myself as a future specialized educator? Another challenge was the reactivation of previous notions and knowledge. A lot of notions are taught in first and second semesters, to really go back and preserve these vital notions, and it was an important step. And another step is to support competency and confidence, to help the students to do research, encourage them to go look at different platforms, to look at the research, to do a review of what's out there, and to look at what's happening on the ground in terms of intervention. And also was to develop the posture, or the reflective posture, the ability to look at different situations from another point of view and hear testimonies. And it was a great way to normalize and understand that there are different ways of adapting when we face difficulties in an internship. Also, the idea was to favorize the development of professional identity. It was a great opportunity for the students to build their aspirations, their means of practice, their identity, and their strategies in a professional setting. So I will take the microphone now. Following this experimentation that we have done, we have collected data twice. First one with the students. So they had to answer a Forbes survey in the classroom during the last meeting. We had allowed for some time in the classroom so that people can fill out the survey. And we had 19 people and 18 answered. One was absent during this activity. The data we were looking for is the impact of week one and the elements that were appreciated and enjoyed, and do we have ways to improve for the coming years. And in terms of implementation, it's the first time that we say, did it really add value pedagogically, what we put in place? So it allowed us to get the opinion of the students, the persons using our services, for teachers, a second data collection, and this was a focus group. So it was a meeting in person, and we recorded the audio of this meeting, and it was a meeting that was done at the end of the internship. So the number of teachers that contributed to week one, there were 5 to contribute and to participate in the focus group, where there were 4 of us that were available. And this time the data information we're looking for was to talk about the strong points and the things to improve, but from the point of view of teachers. So throughout the semester, yes, there was week one, but what you should know is we had a lot of collective work during the semester. We wanted to have a view on the themes of the different collectives. So that allowed us to bring together a lot of data in terms of results. In the Forbes survey. They had to say if they agreed or disagreed with certain statements. So the first week allowed me to refresh my knowledge from my classes in my second semester. 60.1% of the students were in perfect agreement with that they could refresh their knowledge. 33% were in agreement and 5% were in disagreement. We could see that the great majority of the students of this cohort found that it was relevant to reappropriate knowledge and reactivate their information, their skills. So the first week of the internship in classroom allowed me to better understand the internship coming and what I had to do. 50% of the students were in perfect agreement with that statement. 38.9 were in agreement and 11.9 were neutral. So here we can see that there was nobody in disagreement and that the great majority were in agreement with the statement, that they were able to understand the expectations and the internship and how it was going to eventuate. So the first week in classroom allowed me to familiarize myself and ask questions and on the work and evaluations to come. So 38.9% responded perfect agreement, 38.9 were in agreement, and 22% were neutral vis-a-vis this statement. So once again, the great majority said that it allowed them to improve and ask questions. And it was interesting for us because it allowed us to reduce the stress before the internship, and 50% were in perfect agreement and 33.3% were in agreement and 16% neutral. So it's a great, the great majority of the students felt that first week prepared them well for the coming weeks and reduced their stress facing their internship. Intro before you present the follow the next data. I want to, because we keep the different activities to the end, it's a lot of time for preparation, but I think a member of our team that's important are the pauses. And if we look at the 19 students, we had no interruptions and no internships that failed. And is it still the case? And it's still the case when the impact after week one, we didn't have to intervene very much, considering that the expectations were very clearly set, and we did some follow-up, and there was a solid basis that was put in place. And that's an important piece of information to say that our fact is that the fact is that all the students were ready for this first internship. Thank you, Louise. So the first week of the internship allowed me to feel ready for my first days of the internship. So the first week of the classroom prepared me for the internship. The majority of people were in agreement, a perfect agreement or agreement. They all agreed. They were ready for the internship. And for the teachers, what came out of the focus group is the teachers were unanimous to the fact that they felt that it increased the well-being of the students, that it increased the capacities of adaptation. And so this was something that we wanted to mobilize from the beginning. And most teachers, what they said was that it reduced the management of problematic situations in the internship, and that it helped, and we didn't really have any problematic situations where we had to intervene throughout the semester. Is there a difference between the skills to develop in the first and second internships? Are they different? What are the different skills between the two internships? Yes, they are. So it's the same skill set, but in the first internship, our expectations were muted with regards to showing this skill set. At the end of the internship, we want to make sure the students has mastered certain techniques and certain ways of doing things and how to act professionally. It couldn't be. We asked that at the end there's some autonomy, but our expectations will be tempered. But in the second internship, the integrative one, we expect that the students demonstrate that they have reached the different skills, satisfied the certain skills. In the first internship, there's a second skill set, the public acuity, but the expectations are not the same between the first and second internships. Will Lise want to add anything to this? Yes, quickly. In the framework, what we can see is for internship one, there's the support, things we want to vulgarize with support and with a lot of feedback. So that's the distinction with the second one with support, and there in the framework there's always support and feedback and discussion, but it doesn't appear in the framework because we expect more integrative experience and more autonomy. So we put it that way in the framework. Thank you, Elise. So we would be coming to the conclusion. And what we have as questions is how could you put in place a first week in your different programs? Would there be constraints, issues that are similar, different? And what would be the advantages and the possibilities on your end? That's now what will conclude our presentation. There are already people who wrote that your presentation, what you were preparing, resembles a lot what you've presented. But in this Cégep, we will visit the internship people and ask questions before starting. I don't know if that's what you do in Shawinigan. And there's somebody who said that the preparation, cognitive preparation, is, I realize that we are not well tooled for that. So the your plan for preparing them for a whole week seems much appreciated. So if there are other people who want to maybe add in the chat room, are there constraints, issues on your end as a possible teacher in a program where the students do internships? I invite you to put your answers in the chat, your questions rather. If do you are you looking at other possibilities to preparing maybe a week? I for the students, I invite you to give your answers now. There's 3-4 minutes left in the presentation, and so I would want to thank you. It was very interesting, very pragmatic what you're presenting and practical, and well presented, and it's about encouraging these students to think, to reduce their stress level, and a lot of tools that we give them and knowledge that we refresh after a few months of absence during the summer. So I'd like to hear you. What do you take away from all of this, Elise, and the work that you've done? I will begin. I find that the work is very well worth it. In the beginning, we were questioning, is it too rigid? Is it too regimented? Does it not leave enough room for discussion and reflection? On the contrary, no, I thought that it was a winning formula with our students for specialized education, those who know the clientele and social work too, for example. There's some issues with mental health sometimes with the students. They're stressed, they have some issues with fearing and not succeeding. So this was an experience that added a lot of value. It was worth taking the time. I saw on the chat that certain people have more internships maybe in their programs, so there are less hours of study. So when we were able to put together this program, it was a strategic choice and pedagogical choice that we made to have two bigger banks of hours of internship, to have collective hours and hours with the students as well, one-on-one. So our reflection is the following: if there's an internship that starts in the winter, the holiday period is a bit more difficult, is a bit less long, so maybe 2 3 days only if you're doing it in the winter rather than in the summer. And so the different classes, we had the opportunity to there's some projects that they were working on to go out into the field and meet with partners, and for us as well to visit the environment and check out the internship situation before the students, and there's a first contact also that we make before the summer vacation. I see that there's another question here that was asked by Julie. I'm sorry, Julie, I hadn't seen it. In semesters 3 and 6, are there other classes specific to the internship and simultaneous with the internship? Yes or no? How many are there? And is there an impact on the organization and the choice of classes or the schedule? Yes. In semester 3, in the first internship, they have 405 hours. So they are interning 3 days, and the other days there's some time together as smaller groups. But these students also have 2 3 classes from their program. I think a French class, a philosophy class, and an optional class where they can choose. So on semester 6 at the end, it's an integrative internship, 5 days a week. The students have effectively finished their classroom training, which means they would have no other classes except for the internship. Thank you to both of you. I found it very interesting and very inspiring. That can give great ideas to people who participated in your webinar. And congratulations for the work you're doing, Elise and Andrew. I'm certain that it's very much appreciated by the students as well as your institution and the different interns as well, the people going into internship as well. So bravo, thank you, and thank you to all the participants today. You were very attentive, and it was very interesting. Everybody was active, and so thank you everybody, and I wish you a wonderful day on this 2nd of October. Thank you. See you soon. Goodbye.